if a realtor has a house for $400,000, that's how he advertises it, he or she. But what you could do, that if it falls in the FHA limits, you could, you can get in for 3.5%. Well, that's about what, I don't know, $17,000 or so. So if you advertise $17,000 down, that's a lot more attractive than house for sale $400,000, because a lot of people are still thinking, oh, 25% down, where do I get $100,000? So repackaging things, it is really the key.
Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Podcast. I'm your host, Michelle Kesil. Today, I'm joined by someone I'm looking forward to chatting with, Scott Tonges, who is a commercial real estate broker and has 45 years of experience in every facet of investing real estate. So excited to have you here today, Scott.
Thanks, Michelle. It's good to be with you, and I appreciate your having me on.
Yeah, of course. So let's dive in. First off, for those not familiar with you and your work, can you share what your main focus is?
My main focus today is, besides private investment on small properties, principally shopping centers, strip centers in Texas. That's one of my key focuses. The other, I'm completing a free course that should launch next week, getting technical issues out of the way, and it's called Start with $2,500 Real Estate Investing. Well, that sounds impossible. It's very doable. I've done plenty myself, but it's learning to do options and even lease options and things like that. But what most people think when they get into commercial real estate or any kind of real estate, they're thinking it's got to be a 25% down, get a loan and move ahead and get an 8% return. But I work with a lot of, I call master investors, and they do anything but that. And while they were in the league of, paying all cash for something and turning properties around that are underperforming or maybe even in dire straits, but some are just underperforming. And I learned from them. And as one of my clients told me aboard his $12 million Gulfstream jet, he said, what I do on a large scale, anyone can do on a small scale. And that didn't really resonate with me at the time, but after a period, I realized that these guys, when you meet somebody that's, one of the fellows I work with, Jerry Moore, helped him buy a handful of centers, but he had 100 shopping centers. And you wonder, what are these guys doing that the average person doesn't do, because they're kind of lucky to buy their first property and hope it works out. And what they understand how to do, and I finally learned how to do from them, was to create value and do it in short order. And creating and understanding value is really a key element to to making serious money. And when I talked about the starting with $2,500 or less, really, is to create seed capital, which most people, that's kind of what a lot of people are, how do I get the money? How do I find $50,000 or $100,000? Well, you can do it by understanding how value is created and what even a vacant building could be if you understand creating value in local markets.
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
I'm working on putting together, I call myself a financial doctor for commercial property owners and their tenants, because it really needs to involve the tenants, because you can't just go in and raise rents and not have, chaos. So anyway, I've worked on both ends to help the tenants make money, and thereby then the landlord can raise the rents. As I said earlier, if you raise somebody's rent by $500 a month, but you can show them how to net $5,000 a month by marketing, which very few really know how to do, then that makes a big difference. So today I do my own private investment. I've got my free training course coming out by next week, then working with commercial property owners and helping them improve operations. And then for those who wish, I only work with a handful of people at a time, but help them daisy chain to owning more properties, because I did finally understand how these people were, creating, multi-property portfolios. And there is a trick to it. I say the trick is really understanding value, and having brokered, spending, as I said, 5 years with each of the property types over the decades, I've really come to understand they're all pretty much the same thing. Just a 4-line fourth grade math formula is how you determine value on every property type. So that's it. And then so helping those people create multiple properties is part of the game. If they just want to improve an existing property, that's doable too. But it's a marriage between not a legal marriage, but a operational marriage between the tenants and the landlords.
Yeah, absolutely. And what do you feel are some of the main keys that have made the biggest difference in allowing your business to be able to continue to grow and to run smoothly?
Well, I think understanding the mechanics of, as I said, it wasn't until I had been involved in all the property types, and I spent 8 years doing hotels, which I never want to own a hotel, but I learned that it's all the same game, and how the people that, Jerry Moore wound up with 100 shopping centers. And I took one of my clients, Darby Suter, and we went from, I think he had about 170 apartments, and he went to over 700. But on the side, I didn't know this until late in our 25-year friendship, that he had acquired 150 houses collectively in Houston and San Antonio. And knowing how these guys thought and how they did things, again, the 25% down wasn't the way to do it. They knew how to create value and do it quickly. And in the early stages, when you create value quickly, you can dispose of that and get that new value that you've created. You can use that and then do it again, and then you repeat it, and eventually you're in the league that you're writing checks for the same kind of value opportunity properties that you may have borrowed money on in the first place, or but eventually you're writing checks. And I met those guys at that level, except for one, Howard Ruby, but we were using institutional money as our lending partners, life insurance companies mainly. But he did what Darby did with apartments on a large scale with high-end apartments. And this was before anybody knew about Airbnb or anything. We were doing short-term rentals furnished to corporations. And this is the only time I've had a salaried job in 49 years. I've had 2 years of salary, but anyway, that wasn't my favorite thing. But
if you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency. It's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
Howard built a billion-dollar company called R&B, and we dealt with apartments and commercial properties, but we did office buildings. So we did on a large scale and a kind of an institutional grade scale of what Darby did on a small scale with apartments. So it's, as George told me, what I do on a large scale, anybody can do on a small scale. So between getting seed capital and to do that well, you need to understand the key, relatively simple components of investment real estate. And I taught investment real estate for 5 years to professionals for continuing ed here in Colorado. But it wasn't until much later, even the last 10 years, that I really started to understand how the game was played on a big scale that somebody on a small scale could match. And that sort of evolved into the Start with $2,500 real estate investing course that I launch next week.
Awesome. And as far as like your own investment journey, what has that looked like? What type of investments
Well,
are you choosing?
I did houses for a long time. Actually, my first investment house was it was a troubled property, a nice property. A woman's husband had passed away, and I spent $50 for some ads, and I assigned that deal to a couple that wanted to buy it, and I made $11,500 on it. But on a $50 investment, that's pretty good. And later I found it was easier to do it with small commercial, where you could, just a closed down fourplex. I had no money in it whatsoever. It was pre-foreclosure, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that you've got to look for troubled properties, because if you reposition, or as I call it, you basically can repurpose how you present things. They can be perfectly well operating properties, but how you present them to the market gives you an opportunity. I'll give you an example of repackaging is what I call it. If a realtor has a house for $400,000, that's how he advertises it, he or she. But what you could do, that if it falls in the FHA limits, you could you can get in for 3.5%. Well, that's about $17,000 or so. So if you advertise $17,000 down, that's a lot more attractive than house for sale $400,000, because a lot of people are still thinking, 25% down, where do I get $100,000? So repackaging things. I know I did it with an office condominium in Phoenix, and at first it looked like a $1.7 million deal, but by repackaging, and I didn't do this as a broker, it was as an investor, I basically marked up a $1.6 million deal that the owner wanted to $1.7 million, and I repackaged it. It was a 10,000 square foot building, and I repackaged it for somebody that needed 5,000 square feet, and he could reduce his operating costs significantly, over half, by leasing out the other half of the building. So that was just repackaging something that a broker, and having been one for almost 50 years, they would have just said, building for sale, $1.7 million, you figure it out, Mr. Buyer. So repackaging is a way to deal with properties that don't have a big upside, but you repackage how attractive they are to a certain level of buyer. So I think knowing what master investors do, and then bringing that down to, and I really think, honestly, I think not home builders, but home investors are really very clever. And a lot of those clever ideas that home investors do are applicable to the commercial world, where a lot of these ideas are just unknown. The commercial world's still in sort of the backwater of, unique ideas on how to approach investing.
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
So I certainly, my hat goes off to the real estate, the residential guys, because I know I learned, my first deal was, I stumbled through from what I learned from Ron LeGrand, who I really appreciate. And it was I just didn't realize you didn't have to come up with 25% and rent out a house. That's a long-term thing. And what most investors do, and what I teach people to do, is quick turnover, create value quickly, get the equity out, and do it again. And in time, you don't need loans. Even if you stay on the small scale, you can eventually write checks. And I met so many investors at that point, but still what they did and how they got there is a doable set of rules, really.
Yeah, absolutely. And what are you most focused on now when it comes to solving or scaling the next thing? I know you mentioned like your course, but maybe when it comes to investments, are there any like goals for scaling that right now?
Well, I'm looking, like I say, I'm looking at strip centers primarily. They don't have to be in trouble. I prefer that, but they may be under rented. But working with, repositioning those and creating equity quickly in them is pretty easy to do. And so that's kind of my focus. I'm really looking in mainly Houston and San Antonio, which I'm kind of familiar with, though. Houston and San Antonio have grown in ways I probably wouldn't recognize, but that's it. And then helping ideally multi-tenant commercial property owners gain greater equity out of their properties by working in concert with their tenants. And marketing is really the bottom line of all that. And kind of the direct response marketing is really the key for brick and mortar stores to gain more local business, and then becoming remarkable, sort of the Banana Republic idea, and then helping them learn to build and sell. Because a lot of people that are selling businesses now don't realize that all they've got is really selling off their inventory at wholesale, because they really don't understand what business buyers are looking for. So that's sort of the third step in what the four-step program that I help retail clients through the landlords put together. And then finally, a money model under the way of Alex Hormozy, who did his book launch back in August and sold 2.9 million books on a Saturday. So he has something to show, and a lot of brick and mortar stores really don't understand that. So it's really good to know. So that helping landlords and tenants, redo their financial operations, and getting my course launched, and that's sort of it. So I've got a book that I've had for, actually, it's a few years old, but it's called Property Empire. There it is. Promoting my book, Property Empire: How to Build Wealth with Real Estate Using the Secrets of Master Investors. And if you go to Amazon, it's just put in Property Empire Tonges, Tonges, and you can go right to it. But in my free course that I launch next week, it'll be available. You can read the first chapter and introduction. It's both a kind of a business diary and what I learned, and then a lot of how to and all real life situations and some of the master investors I learned from and what they did. And how to avoid risk was one of the biggest ones. I know dealing with the shopping center guy, they avoided risk. That was really the key. They knew how to do that. So that again, it's doable on any scale. So you just don't want to buy a troubled property and then take over the same problems the guy you bought it from did. Even buying it cheap doesn't work. You've got to minimize that risk. So that's it. And if any, I'm rebuilding my website right now so people can access this information and stuff. But if anybody has interest, my direct email is propertytrust@outlook.com, propertytrust@outlook.com. So that's kind of where to learn a little bit more. And most everything I do is really free, as I will be launching that course next week.
And who is like this course geared towards? Is it more geared towards investors, property managers, all of the above?
Well, really anybody who wants to understand investment real estate on a level where you're not exposed so much. The last place you want to go, especially as an early on investor, is a standard bank. Hard money lenders are fine. Again, you need to know what you're doing to make them comfortable. But I think understanding how to create value, and that's not about just, troubled properties, though those are great opportunities. But you really need to understand how value is created and to do it quickly. And as you can, get in and out of those situations. And sometimes you don't need to buy them or own them. You can assign them. And that's where the, start with $2,500 area comes into play, so people can earn the seed capital. But knowing what happens for the guy that you're assigning that to, that's really the key. So I teach people how that's done, or how to interpret or understand and put on the market a property so they understand what they're getting, not just distressed apartment for sale, because then you're just sort of leaving it up to them. And if you know a few steps to take to make that an attractive offer, repackaging it, as I say, then you've got something to work with. And a lot of my buyers of things I repackaged that I never owned were attorneys. Three attorneys come to mind right now that had no problem paying, 5-figure fees to me to get hold of what I had repackaged and help them understand what was available. So you're not taking advantage of anybody ever, whether it's a seller or the end buyer. There's a smart way to do all of that.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for clarifying. So before we wrap up here, if somebody wants to reach out, connect, learn more, where can people find you?
I think since my website is under massive rehab, if just email me at southwesttrust@outlook.com. That's southwesttrust@outlook.com. It's one word, and yes, there's 2 T's in there. Seems weird, but that's probably the best way. And if you have an interest in, if you have deals, or if you are interested in, looking into the free course or getting the first chapter of the book free or anything like that, I'd be glad to get back with you. Just let me know what your interest is, and I'll lead you in the right direction. And hopefully everything that I was talking about, a new website, no, that'll be up and running next week. But that would be the best way to get started.
Perfect. Well, appreciate your time and your story. Thank you for being here.
My pleasure, Michelle, and thank you for the opportunity to join you. Really enjoyed it.
Great. And for the listeners tuning in, if you got value, make sure that you have subscribed. We have more conversations with operators like Scott who are building real businesses, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.